Well, I finally got this thing going. We're going to see if someone shows up. First live stream. I'm assuming that number one by the two people looking thing is a person watching. If you're there, top hello. Let me know who you are. If someone is there, there's really no specific topic tonight. I mostly talk about gardening. Ah, Stacy, I kind of figured you would show up. No, it's not weed, it's tobacco. I won't give my, well, what the hell? I will give my opinion on weed. If they would legalize weed, which I don't drink anyway, if they'd legalize weed today, I would get high tonight. And now that hemp is being legal to grow in all of these 50 United States, it's only a matter of time before it's legal recreational through the whole country. Once they figure out how to get that almighty tax dollar out of it, trust me, they're looking at Colorado, they're looking at California, they're looking at Maine, all these places that have legalized it for recreational use. They're going and they're seeing how much money is generated from taxes, and it won't be long. Just like the lottery was 25, 30 years ago, they're going to legalize it because they want that money. It's all about the almighty dollar. But there's one person we don't need smoking, and that's Alexandria Occasional Cortex. I mean, Acacia, whatever her name is from New York. I just call her Occasional Cortex because occasionally her brain functions. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to breathe. I love watching Ben Shapiro just tear her apart. I can't believe someone that stupid actually got elected. And yep, that Hardy's Cup, had to go back to work, and I managed restaurants for 25 years, and that was the last place I worked before I got in a car wreck and broke my back. So they hurt me like hell tonight doing all those dishes with that bending and picking up crap, but I made it through my shift. Little something to keep me busy and put a little money in my pocket while I go back to school and try to get my master's in history. Well, hello, Virginia Gibson from Long Island. Let me ask you a question. How big of a fan of Alexandria Occasional Cortex are you? Since now you don't have Amazon moving in. And you're right, Stacy. Cash crop. And it does grow like a weed. I don't blame you, Virginia. She's really not worth the time thinking about to begin with. She's going to be the one-term wonder, the darling of the Democratic Party. Every time she opens her mouth, she puts her foot in it. And Nancy Pelosi, I think, really set her in her place whenever she wanted this Green New Deal, and they formed the committee, and Nancy Pelosi did not put her on it. Oh, I laughed till I peed. New Jersey. I don't have any business being further north than the Mason-Dixon line because if it snows on a regular basis, my white behind does not belong there. It is too cold for me. I'll take my South Georgia right on the Florida line any day of the cold year. No, sir, I don't deal with cold weather. Plus, my garden season is very long. Trump might make her and Bernie cry, but Trump's got to learn to keep his mouth shut at certain times. He's a smart man, but he's got a big mouth and doesn't know when to keep it shut. He wasn't my personal first choice for president, that's for sure, but it damn sure wasn't Hillary Clinton. Last thing I wanted to hear was President Clinton again. And I really didn't have a problem with Bill other than I knew he would be an embarrassment for the country. And sure enough, he was. How embarrassing is it for the world to see that you're getting a woman under your desk to do things for you sexually that you ought not be doing? That's just, he was an embarrassment. World politics, he was an idiot. The only thing he had going for him was domestic politics. But then he brought up NAFTA and ruined our economic ability to manufacture. Yeah, Virginia, but you got to realize Amazon can afford it. Amazon is so big, they negotiate their own postal rates. They don't pay the same rate to send a package as you or I. They have a deal with the government where they pay half the price of what we pay to ship the same item. And that's not really fair to us. They should pay the same thing we do. I'm sorry. Business or no business, they're going to use it as a tax write off anyway. So, Virginia, do you do any gardening where you are, or have you started anything yet if you do? So, what's going on up that part of the country? Because I see a few videos. I watch Lumna Acres, and I know it's still pretty cold, and I think he's just getting around to getting ready to start seed. I've been late getting most of mine done by about two or three, oh, excuse me, about 2 or 3 weeks. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I grow a lot of stuff in pots. I've got roughly a third to a half of an acre in-ground garden, and I still do tomato plants and peppers and various vegetables in pots. I mean, sometimes it's just easier that way, and you can have them right by the door where you don't have to go all the way out in the garden. If it's raining and you need a fresh tomato, you can just open the door and there it is. Hey, if the snow goes away every time it rains, you're doing good because I can't deal with snow. I've had snow that actually stuck on the ground more than an inch, probably 3 times in my life, and I'm 48. First one was when I was 3 in 73. Then we had snow and Christmas in 89. Then in 94, we had about 8 inches in West Georgia whenever I was in college over there. And we had some last year that I took some pictures of, and we had about 3 inches. So it doesn't snow down here. We get flurries that don't stick, they're gone the next morning or that afternoon, but that's enough snow for me. Yeah, after we get through with the live stream tonight, I've got some Cherokee purple tomato seeds that I'm going to start and some green sausage tomatoes. I like green tomatoes, and Josh at the City Stead, I won one of his giveaways, and he sent a bunch of seeds, and among those was a green sausage tomato, and it actually looks like a bratwurst sausage. It's got the little curved shape, and it's about the same diameter, and it's green, and so I'm gonna give those a try along with the purple artichokes he sent and cucamelons. So I'm gonna try those, and hopefully I like them. I know I'm gonna like the tomatoes. We're gonna give the Cherokee Purple a try this year. I haven't grown them in a few years. I like those. Those are right behind Brandywine. Brandywine's my all-time favorite, but where I live, it's so humid and so moist all year long during the summer that Brandywines don't do very well. They succumb to fungus and bacterial wilts and diseases really bad. So I got to plant 15 plants to get one tomato, but I do it anyway because I just love the taste. And nope, I haven't kicked the habit yet, but I'm working on it. But I just got off work, so I'm going to enjoy these couple cigarettes I smoked on this live. But so far in my in-ground garden, I've got Irish potatoes planted, and I'll plant the red kind. And I've got English peas planted. I still have some collards. I've got Vidalia onions, real Vidalia onions. I live right next to Vidalia within 45 minutes. So I'm in the area that's legally allowed to call them Vidalia onions. But wherever you are, if you want to grow a Vidalia onion, it's the soil that makes them taste the way they do. But the varieties are Texas Grano 502 or Gran X33 if you buy the seed, and you can grow your own Vidalia onions. They just won't taste quite the same because the soil you have wherever you are is not the same as what we have. But it's the same exact onion. Yeah, brandy wines are hard to grow in the South, and I like the Anaheim peppers. You picked a good one there. Yeah, in Virginia, if you get a chance, check through Baker Creek or some of these other places for heirloom tomatoes. Um, the Cherokee purple is actually a really dark blackish purple looking tomato, kind of like a black creme. It's got a deeper, richer flavor than your traditional red tomatoes. It's a very good slicer. They get as big as a beefsteak if you fertilize them and water them well. And they're indeterminate, so they'll produce all season long. It's not one set crop. And as far as peppers go, I've got some Hispanic people that I know, and I grow a lot of vegetables to cater to them because, believe it or not, these people like good food and they like it fresh. They'll pay me twice what it costs at the grocery store for the peppers that I grow because they know that they're picked that day, or either they can come to the house and they can pick what they want. We weigh them up, they pay for them, and they're on their way. I sell live roosters to them. I don't even have to pluck them and butcher them for them, $10 a piece. So I cater to a lot of my growing to the Hispanic market. Oh yeah, the Cherokee is excellent in flavor, and you're right. The Mississippi River Valley, they've got some great soil. I'm on the very southern southeast corner of Georgia. I'm 100 miles from Savannah and 100 miles from Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm zone 8B, 9A, and I'm 100, 125 years ago, the area that I'm living in was part of the Okefenokee Swamp. So I've got really good, dark, organic soil that's just full of all kinds of nutrients. So as long as I take care of my soil and keep it fed, I'm good. Yeah, Virginia, I haven't seen the long green ones. That's why I kept it. And then I did a giveaway. I had enough seed that before they went bad, I wanted to make sure they got used. So I did a couple giveaway. And Dan at Home in the Sticks, he won a pack. And Mari's vegetable garden, she got a pack. And whatever I didn't take from uh, Josh at the City Stead, I added those to it and then added in some more and sent them off. And hopefully they'll take some, add some, and just keep sending it and keep blessing. That's right, Virginia. When I lived in Jessup, Georgia, a couple towns over, I was in a small trailer park, and there were some guys from Mexico that lived at two trailers ahead of me, and they had a pine tree in the yard. And I come home from work one day, they had a cow hanging in this pine tree, and they were cutting this thing up with a skill saw. They want fresh meat. They don't want it aged or anything like that. And they gave me a piece of meat off the neck, and I tell you what, it was some kind of good. Oh yeah, I've sold. Whenever I worked in concrete, I lived in the town Jessup that I mentioned. I was a foreman for a concrete company, and I had about 30 Mexicans that worked for me. They would live 12, 15 of them in a single wide trailer, but every time you'd go there, it was always clean. They were never dirty. They were always friendly, worked hard, didn't mind paying good money for fresh produce, and I have no complaints. You know, I say build the wall, but I also say put doors in it. My only problem with illegal immigration is taxes. They come over here, they work, they do jobs that Americans don't want to do, and I have no problem with that. But line them up, give them a tax ID number, let them pay income taxes, then they can send all the money they want back to Mexico because I don't know how many of them that I worked with went back to Mexico because they'd made all the money they needed to buy their land and build their house and had themselves set up for several years. They had no intentions of staying in this country. They just came here for the economic opportunity. That's all it was. And several of them went back while I was working. But I tell you what, they loved my peppers, and I only met one Mexican that did not eat jalapenos. But I grew some one year that were so hot that one of the Mexicans took a bite out of a fried one, and it was hot enough it made him cough. And I'd sell them habaneros, and they would stand around, five or six of them stand around and eat their ham and cheese sandwiches, and they would pass that one pepper around between them, one pepper for all five of them. They would all take a bite of their sandwich and then take a bite of the pepper and pass the pepper to the next guy. He'd take a bite, nibble on the pepper, pass it around. It was funny to watch. They cracked me up, and I learned a lot from them. I learned a lot of Spanish, and whenever I go places, like a lot of the recycling places around here have a lot of Mexicans to work for them. I don't let on that I understand Spanish, so I listen to what they say, and whenever they start talking about me, I just look at them and I smile, and then I'll say something in Spanish, and they're like, "Oh shit, the gringo knows English," and they're like, "Yeah, I know what you said about me, pendejo, you asshole." But it was very interesting working with them, and some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So as far as immigration goes, I have no problem other than with paying income taxes. They need to pay taxes like the rest of us. They were working for a cement plant, and same had lived a bunch of them in a house across the street, clean, quiet, worked hard every day till they got deported. Yeah, every once in a while you do get that one bad apple that's going to be violent, but for the most part, they don't cause problems. They stay under the radar, and they pay their rent in cash. Nothing. They stay to themselves. And one of the funniest things you can do is you can go to a Walmart on a Sunday afternoon and just yell the word "La Migra" and watch them scatter like flies. His American Girlfriend, A Crime of Passion. The year my daughter was born, which was 1997, we had a Mexican here. He was illegal, and his girlfriend was a white girl, and she had a baby a week or two before my ex-wife did, and it was basically the same situation, a crime of passion. He thought that she was cheating on him, and he actually cut her head off, cut it off of her body completely with a machete. And then he ran, and being undocumented, illegal, and they stick together. They smuggled him back across the border. He'll never be found or brought to justice for it. And I see Trump's point of view. We've got to protect the borders. We can't be letting these criminals in. Everybody needs a background check before they come to this country. But for the 99.9% of the Mexicans and Guatemalans, Hondurans, Central Americans, you know, they're all good people. They're all hard workers. I can't complain. My only problem is the taxation. They don't pay taxes like I do, and once they have children, then they're eligible for government services, and I don't agree with that either. But it's a tricky situation. The child's an American citizen because he's born here, but the parents aren't. So what do you do? Well, my opinion is you deport the parents, send the child with them with the paperwork they need to prove they're a dual citizen of this country, and whenever the child's old enough, or either if they want to put him in foster care with a family that's legal that they can trust, have no problem with it. But you got to follow the law, and everybody's hollering about they have rights, they have rights. Yeah, they have rights in the country they live in. They do not have the rights that Americans have because they are not American citizens, so they are not entitled to our rights. Let's see. Messages held for review. I'm just going to add you as a moderator. They held your message in review. And I'm going to put it back up. There it goes, the show. Yeah, like Alexandria Occasional Cortex. Let's support those who aren't willing to work. Oh my God, how much of Karl Marx have you read? Das Kapital, the worst book ever. Socialism has not worked for one country other than China, and the only reason why it's working for China is because they finally opened up their economy to the rest of the world. Otherwise, they would have already collapsed by now. You know, and everybody's worried about Russian meddling in the U.S. election. Don't worry about Russia. Worry about China. They're loaning countries money. No one of these countries can't pay them back because they're going to take infrastructure and companies from those countries and they're going to build military bases all across the beltway of the Indian Ocean, the major sea lane where all of our imports and exports travel through. And they're going to control it with military bases. And in the next 25 to 30 years, China is going to be the world's most dominant power. America will no longer be the dominant power on the planet unless we get into a shooting match. And God forbid if that happens. I mean, China's weapons are not nearly as technical as ours, but there's so damn many of them. They'll give they'll give them all a pair of sandals and won't. Next thing you know, there's sandal tracks everywhere. Billions of them. You can't shoot that many people at one time. Now it's saying I have no viewers, but this is ScrewTube. The counter could be wrong, or there could be trouble, or you guys could be busy. But hopefully, some other folks will stop by. I'm hoping. Thank you, Virginia, and I hope you get a good night's rest. It's the same time here. We're in the same time zone. Luckily for me, I don't have to get up early in the morning, so I'm going to hang out here for a little while longer. But stop by my channel more often. I'll be I'll be showing those tomatoes in the near future, especially if I get them growing quick enough, and I'll let you see. You'll get to see what they look like, and hopefully, if you like what you see, you'll find some and give them a try because the green ones, they're not very acidic. They're really good tomatoes. I usually get the German green stripe but I'm gonna try these this year. But good night to you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, and God bless you. And God loves you just as much as I do. So thank you. Hopefully, some other folks will stop by. But being my first live stream, I'm not really going to count on it. But hey, this is good. I might start doing this nightly between 10 and 11 or so, because all the other big channels they do the 7, 8, and 9 time slots, and you're not going to draw people away from them because most of your bigger channels are your younger folks, like Jess at Roots and Refuge. I mean, yeah, great information, but hey, let's face it, people tune into her because she's a pretty face and she's energetic and she's bubbly. I mean, what's not to like? I watch her myself, and I've actually gotten a few helpful hints and tips from her. So you know, but whenever she's got 500 or 600 people watching, I know I'm not going to be drawing off her crowd. They're going to stay there, and they're not going to come here. Same way with Danny and Wanda at Deep South Homestead. Besides, I'm going to be watching them instead of doing a live stream myself because I love Danny and Wanda. That's one of my favorite channels. So, Stacy, if you're still on here, what part of Mississippi do you live in? Oh, gee. If anyone's watching, I hope they didn't see that. It fell off. I made an ash of myself. Come on, if somebody's watching, that was funny. You could at least say, aha. Okay, two people. One people. That must be Stacy. Somebody else must have popped in and then popped out. So what's the next thing we talk about? Whoever's viewing, any questions? Any subject you want to talk about? Anything's up for grabs. We can talk about anything, doesn't matter to me. It says one person's watching. So who do we have out there in YouTube land? Is that you, Stacy? Participants. It says it's just me. Yes, I'll sit and wait a little longer. Maybe somebody is watching. Maybe it's not commenting. Or I could play around with these features and see what all these things do and try to figure out how to show pictures and things. I would like to know how to show pictures. I don't know how to do that. I have to figure that out. If anyone's watching, tell Daryl at Two Family Homestead that we need a good lesson in how to do live chat starting off because I have no idea what I'm doing. Now I'm down to 0. Is anyone watching? I'll be right back. I just heard something. Oh, that's 45 minutes. Well, you better lose your footing, ain't you? No, it's not getting my lap. I got something for the two of you. Still, the answer is zero.